Today we have Betsy. She is the co-founder and holistic coach at Exponential Impact, an incubator accelerator focused on companies with emerging technologies. The programs offered by XI are focused on leadership and character development. Betsy is also a principal at Thrivers Leadership Institute, focused on providing transformational leadership content, tools, and mentoring. Additionally, Betsy serves as the co-president of Thrivers Foundation. Betsy is the co-founder of the Classical Academy, the largest Colorado charter school with over 3,500 students, K through 12. She then became the director of charter and culture for the school, which has been rated as the top high school in Colorado. Betsy specialized in developing character curriculum for students and teachers, overseeing mentorship programs, and creating healthy culture for students and teachers using a positive psychological framework. Betsy graduated cum laude from Wake Forest University with a degree in English, then from University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill with a Master of Education in Counseling. Betsy serves on multiple boards, including Charter and Leadership Council at Wake Forest University and the Institute for Cultural Evolution. Betsy is also the chair of the board of Core Purpose LLC. She is passionate about helping people thrive and word for life and presenting to us this evening.
Thank you guys so much, because today we're going to talk about character and leadership. Who can tell me what character is? Surely somebody in here. Yes! That's great. That's exactly right. And we're going to talk all about very specific character traits a little later. But we're going to start talking about leadership first and foremost. Who here considers himself a leader? Only a few of you. Well, let me tell you, guys are all leaders, right? First and foremost, you have to lead yourself. If you have kids, you got to lead your kids. If you do any kind of work, I guarantee you probably have someone that you're leading or who's leading you, right? So leadership's important. So we're going to talk about how to develop leadership and some of the things you can do. I'm looking at everybody still eating because my first activity is going to have it up and out. But so I'm going to apologize up front because you're going to have to leave your food for a minute. But so some of the things, how you develop leadership skills, one of the things is self-awareness, which is just knowing about yourself, right? And then emotional intelligence. That would be another thing. Does anyone know what emotional intelligence is? Yes. Can you speak a little louder? Absolutely. Exactly. So like emotional intelligence is the ability to know what you're feeling at any given moment, and then the ability to recognize what another person is feeling. And I'll tell you right now that if you don't know what you're feeling, you're going to have a really, really hard time knowing what anyone else is feeling. So we're going to do a game kind of thing to start off. I guess I apologize that you're going to leave your food, but it's called Four Corners. And basically, if you've ever, who here has ever seen a feelings wheel chart? Has anyone ever seen one? Okay. Yeah, so there are some core emotions, and then there are more specific emotions that go out from a core emotion. So some of the core emotions, I'm going to go through a few of the four core emotions. First one would be fear. And what would be a more, like for under fear, something like anxiety, for example, or just unsettled. Those are emotions that would fall under fear. Angry. You can be angry, you can be furious, you can be frustrated, you can be irritated, right? There are lots of ways to be in the anger category. sad. You can be sad, you could be devastated, you can be unhappy, you could be depressed, you can feel tired. Those are all versions of being sad. And happy. Could be joyful, you could be content. There are a lot of ways to be happy, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of paper in the four corners of this room, and you're going to go to the corner that describes how you feel today, okay? So maybe on the way over here, something happened and you got in traffic and you're still irritated, so maybe you're angry, right? Or maybe you've just had a really hard year, day. Maybe something hard happened at school and you're feeling sad. Maybe you're happy, right? But you get to decide how you're feeling. It can be how you're feeling today or kind of how you've been feeling this week, right? And then when you go to that corner, I want you to talk with one or two other people and tell them why you chose that emotion, okay? So this is going to be fear. This is going to be happy over here. Thank you. We're going to have anger over in that corner. And we're going to have sad over there. So I'm going to put sad right here. Okay, so everybody get up and move to the corner that best describes what you're feeling. Take me. You slip this out. Thank you. All right, if you guys are done talking, you guys can go back to your seat.
You did that pattern. But he's yapping with part of that trip. I didn't have it, Chef. But I want to sit by the back. He danced very little oceans. And she still something to type there. Quite out, but have to saw it up and it's very good. I was taking it. I should be. It's been clouded. And she goes to the bed. So that's too much. It's like, step down it. Name is.
All right, let's have some people share. You can either share why you picked the corner you picked, or you can share what it was like to talk about your emotions with maybe some other people. Who wants to share? Yes. You just had a good day, so you chose happy. All right. Who else? All right. Yes. I had to be to the bed, climbing out the day of work. Awesome. That's great. Thank you. Who else? All right. Sure. Yes.
I'll come here a saft here and could you increase that like
Right.
feel the sad here. It goes on comments.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
I love that. So it tired.
Yes. Great. Thank you for sharing. And it is hard, right? It's kind of vulnerable, right? To step into pretty much anything but happy. It requires a level of vulnerability. But that's what relationships require, right? Emotional intelligence is about being vulnerable, first with yourself and then with other people. So I appreciate you guys playing along with that. And so when we talk about being a leader, like you need to be able to know what you're feeling. And you need to be able to know what the people you're leading feel, right? And I know that when I ask who's a leader, and only a couple of you, and I want to push back and say everybody in this room is a leader, right? And so to take that seriously and to know that your emotional awareness is really going to affect how you lead. So I would say if it's hard for you to name emotions in yourself, it's something you can practice, right? It's not an innate skill that you're born with. It's something that you practice. And if you grew up in a home where emotions weren't really accepted, people told you to kind of get over it, then sometimes we suppress our emotions. So we kind of need to bring those back up and so that we can know what we're feeling. All right, let's go on then and talking about leadership. Another aspect of leadership is called self-regulation. All right, who knows what self-regulation is? Yes.
After self, what?
That exactly right. So basically, it's just this, you can understand and manage your reactions, right? So let's say something happens. All right, if you're in school, say something happens on the playground and someone takes something away from you and you get really mad and you want to just go slap them, right? But you can't. So what do? You regulate, you self-regulate, and you think to yourself, I'm so angry, but then you're like, okay, maybe you breathe, maybe you shake it off, well, maybe you tell a friend, maybe you tell the teacher, right? But that is what self-regulation is. And did you know that you have a nervous system? Does anybody know what the nervous system is or what it does? Yes.
Self-negative viewpoint. Whether we relate to the standard to bias.
That's exactly right. Your nervous system basically runs the show. Not your thinking brain, your nervous system. And your nervous system is automatic. So you have an autonomic nervous system that's broken into two parts. You have a sympathetic nervous system and a parasympathetic nervous system. Your sympathetic nervous system is your fight and flight. Has anyone ever heard that? Fight, flight. Did you know every time you take a breath in, it activates your sympathetic nervous system? So it's not just about fight or flight, it's also just about being active and energized, right? Then your parasympathetic nervous system is called your rest and digest. So as you sit here eating, if you can eat and you're digesting your food, you're actually activating your parasympathetic nervous system. Every time you take an exhale, you're activating your parasympathetic nervous system. And that's your rest and digest. Now, your parasympathetic nervous system also has something called your freeze. Has anyone heard of a freeze response? Has anyone ever seen an animal freeze? Yeah. It absolutely, fainting is in that category, absolutely. And what happens is you have in your parasympathetic, and this is like I'm giving you an anatomy class here. In your parasympathetic nervous system, you have something called the vagus nerve. I don't know, have you guys ever heard of the vagus nerve? It's a pretty important nerve. It's the biggest nerve of the body, and it starts up here in your brain stem. It links to every muscle in your face. It runs two places. Part of it runs down your back, hooking into your shoulders, down into your diaphragm in the back. The other part runs down your front. Hooks all the way from your face, down and through your chest, down into your diaphragm in the front. So it's the biggest nerve of the body, and it's part of the parasympathetic nervous system. The dorsal, who knows what dorsal means? Yes, like a dorsal fin, right? A shark? Come on, you guys know sharks, right? Dorsal means back. So dorsal vagal, which is the biggest nerve that runs down your back, is what controls freeze response. It also is what controls a fainting response. So it's kind of the shut-off valve. It's like that emergency switch, the big red one that you've seen. You just pull it, everything shuts down. Okay? And the front is called ventral vagal. Ventral means front. And that's your social engagement system. It's kind of like when you feel at home, when you feel comfortable with yourself and with other people, you're in something called ventral vagal. Okay? And so the freeze response is something that we're trying to get out of dorsal vagal and we're trying to get into ventral vagal. We're trying to get out of sympathetic nervous system activation, right? Fight or flight. There's all kinds of things that happen in there. And we're trying to get back to ventral vagal. So what are some ways that we can use our body? Okay, so none of this happens in your thinking brain, right? I told you that. You're not in control of it. You can't think your way to ventral vagal. So what are some ways you might think of that maybe you could bring yourself back to home base, ventral vagal? Does anyone have any ideas? Yes.
It's keep breath.
Absolutely. And we'll talk about, that's one of the things we're going to talk about. So breathing, yes.
Because there's a lot of times first of all and some rivers.
Yes.
I needed lots of caffeine after the climate that's more
Right. Yes.
and a terrible for how best.
Right. Absolutely. Nutrition's a big one, right? You have to eat good food. Yes.
For to actually makes through let's do more.
That's awesome. So getting your brain to communicate with each other, left and right hemisphere. That's great. Well, did you know one of the very best ways is exercise? All right, who here likes to exercise? Oh, yay, my people. All right, so if you like to exercise, that's great because you already have a really good tool in your toolbox. If you don't like to exercise, here's another reason why, because it's not just about your physical health. It's not just about your appearance. It's about your mental health. So exercise is one of those things that I would really highly recommend incorporating into your daily life. And that's going to help you self-regulate. It's going to help you work out the energy, right, of things that happen to you. So we have exercise. Now, second, breath work. We talked about breath work. We're going to do like 4 different breath work exercises that you can use to help calm yourself down, okay? And the first one I'm going to talk about is something called 4x4 or square breathing. And this is actually, it's a 4-count inhale, a 4-count hold at the top, a 4-count exhale, and a 4-count hold at the bottom. Okay, and you can kind of imagine a square, right? That's why it's called 4x4 or square breathing. So let's have everyone try it, okay? So everyone sit up, put your feet on the ground. All right. All right, everyone just breathe normally for a second. And now we're going to start. So inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. And hold, 2, 3, 4. Okay, square breathing. One you can do anywhere, anytime. Nobody would know. That one's really good just to balance you, right? It's like just a good, especially if your mind is wandering all and you want to just kind of refocus, that's a great one. All right, the next one called 4-7-8 breathing. All right, and so in that one, 4 counts inhale, 7 count hold at the top, an 8-count exhale. Now, does anyone remember what I said about inhales activating your sympathetic nervous system and exhales activating your parasympathetic nervous system? So anytime you see breathing that you have an exhale that is twice as long as your inhale, it's going to be a relaxing breath. So this is a great one to use like before you go to sleep, or if you're anxious, or if you just need to calm yourself down. If you guys are like getting ready to take a test and you're nervous, 4-7-8 breathing is a great one. Okay? So let's sit up again. Let's practice 4-7-8. All right, so go ahead and inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, 4-7-8 breathing. All right, the next one we're going to do is abdominal breathing, deep breaths, or belly or soft belly breathing. Okay, everyone put their hands on their belly. All right, what I want you to do is I want you to breathe so that you feel your belly rise and fall. Because what happens when you're stressed or nervous is your breath gets real shallow, and that actually aggravates and tells your body that you're in danger. So when you activate your diaphragm, which is in your belly, that calms you down. So this is another one that's great. No one has to know you're doing it. Just feel your belly rise and fall. Also a good one to do before you go to sleep. So that's soft belly or abdominal breathing. And now we're going to try one. Our last one is called a physiological sigh. Okay? And this is one that you would not want to do in public. Okay? This one involves some sound. All right? So what this one is, it's a big breath inhale, and then an extra breath on top of that, and then a sigh exhale through your mouth. So watch me do it, okay? Okay, that is called a physiological sigh. That is a very calming breath, but one you definitely don't want to do in the middle of class, right? Well, maybe. I don't know. All right, let's have everyone try it. If you want to, I will bow. All right, inhale, big inhale. Another inhale on top. Now let it out. It's so relaxing even to hear that. Oh, let's do one more. All right, big inhale. Big inhale on top. Let it out. All right, so those are some ways that you can actually self-regulate and calm your nervous system, right? Does anyone have any questions or comments or anything about breath work? Has anyone ever used breath work before? Yeah. Anybody who's ever done yoga or martial arts would definitely be aware of breath work. If you're an athlete, most athletes use it in some capacity. So. Oh, interesting. That's great. I'm sure it is. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, when we cut the absator. Yes. That begins with all the way to the export or vortex solution did like all the part of the outside that resides of it. And test it. And spelling into like hard readily there and out and on in the body. And replace it all where we could buy. Passion. Thank you for that.
Okay, the next self-regulation tip I'm going to give you is social engagement or affection. So, has anyone ever seen baby animals anywhere? Yes. All right. Has anyone ever seen mama animals and baby animals? Yay. Did you know they're always touching each other, right? Mamas are either licking them or patting them, and monkeys and chimps and all that, they pick each other, but they're constantly touching each other. And did you know that we're social animals too, right? We are hardwired for touch. It calms our nervous system. So if you're ever stressed, find a person you trust and love and do a 20-second hug. And that sounds like a long hug, and it is a long hug. So make sure that person is in agreement with it, right? But the way to do it to make you feel safe is you don't want to be off center of balance. And so you want to both have your center of gravity, and you want to hug so that no one feels like they're falling backwards or forwards. But 20 seconds is how long it takes to reset your nervous system. So all the families in here, that's a great thing to do, right? Physical touch is a great self-regulator. So if anyone's having a really hard day, it's a great thing to do. And the last thing we're going to talk about actually are vagus nerve exercises. And these are something that there are a lot of them. If you go to YouTube, there's all kinds of vagus nerve exercises. A lot of them require you to either be on all fours or lie down. I'm not going to do that, so I am in a dress. But we're going to do a couple that I can show you standing up and then you can do sitting down. And the first one is actually based on your trapezius muscles. Okay, so who in here carries their stress in their shoulders? Oh, I do. Yes, okay. That's your trapezius muscle, right? It's tied in with your vagus nerve. So when it's tight, it's telling your body, you're not okay, okay? So, but there is a way to kind of release that. And so everyone put your hands down here. You can either stand up or sit down, either way. And then you just want to move your body, but not your hips, okay? So you're trying to release that. Now you go up to here, and you're just going to move your body and not your hips, and then over your head as far as you can, and that. And you can just keep doing that. What that's going to do is release your trapezius, which is going to help your vagus know that you're safe. Now, the next one we're going to do is something called half salamander. Now, where they came up with that, I have no idea. But let's have everyone sit, feet on the ground. Put your hands on your thighs. Okay, so in this one, what we're going to do is we're going to just be sitting straight. You're going to be looking straight ahead with your head, okay? And then, without moving your head, you move your eyes to the right, as far as your eyes will go. And you tilt your head to the right. Okay? We're going to do that, and then we're going to come back straight, readjust, and then we're going to do another side. So look to the left as far and tilt your head. All right, I need to caveat this with you're going to feel it. Your body is going to feel it. You might feel lightheaded. You might feel a little dizzy, okay? So this is what's so crazy is just moving your eyes is going to affect your whole body. But you're basically, that is activating you remember what I said, ventral vagal, your eyes, your ears, every muscle in your face tied into it. This is helping you get back to ventral vagal. So let's just try it. I'm not going to have you do it, but for like 10 seconds on each side. Like if you can work up to it, 30 seconds to a minute on each side is how you really get the most benefit. But that is actually kind of a hard thing to do, but you can work up to it. So let's have everyone sit, look straight ahead. All right. Now I want you to move your eyes as far to the right as you can and tilt your head to the right. All right, now come back center and look straight ahead again. Okay, let your body kind of relax for a minute. Now I want you to look to the left as far as you can and tilt your head to the left. Okay, come back center. All right, did anyone feel that? What did it feel like for you? Yeah. Okay, and that's very, very common. Anyone else have any experience? A lot of times, yes, did you need to feel it? Yeah, you can feel it. And so those are good ones to be seated. Just, if you start out with just like 10 seconds, you're not gonna pass out. I can pretty much promise you. If you try to do a minute, like I don't know, because I can't even do a minute. So I find it very, very challenging. But like I said, look on YouTube. There are all kinds. There's probably like 10 different exercises you can do to really activate your vagus nerve. There's also things dealing with sound. Like I said, your ears are connected in. There's all kinds of things with sound too. So those are all other ways to bring you back to ventral vagal. So does anyone have any questions about that? Yes.
It's down. But it's anything that like it.
Well, I think probably, but I think it's more like personal, like what sounds irritate you versus what sounds soothe you. But there's actually a whole protocol called Safe and Sound Protocol, which deals with the vagus nerve. And it's a sound protocol that you do over 5 sessions with someone who's trained in it, and it helps relax your vagus nerve. So, yes. Yeah, I mean, they all are, yes. And I'm not sure what all but definitely. Anyone else?
And over that breath.
Sound. Yeah. Absolutely. That's a great point. A lot of times, like, even trauma that maybe you don't remember consciously, sound, smells can trigger that again, So that is something to just even be aware of. So, all right, let's move on then. That's kind of dealing with leadership and how to kind of get yourself in a space that you can actually lead from, whether it's your family, whether it's in your class, whatever it is. Okay, and now we're going to talk about actually character strengths. So, who here? We talked a little about character. Who here has ever talked in school or wherever you are, at work, whatever, about character? Has anyone ever done that? Okay. Yeah. Well, character is very important, right? It's kind of, there's a lot to it. It's part of our social fabric. It's part of what helps us get stuff done. It's part of what makes society run. Without a strong foundational character, we're all in trouble. So here, I want you guys, you have a sheet that you should have. And this has character strengths and virtues. And basically, you can also go online via character, VIA character.org. And you can take the test online. It's free. And it'll come out with your it'll rate you on your top character strengths, which is a really fun thing, and they have a kids version on there too, okay? But what I want you to do right now is I want everyone to look and read through all of the character traits, and I'll give you a few minutes, and then I want you to circle the 5 to 7 that you feel like you have developed in your own life. That you feel like if someone would say, oh yes, they're definitely very honest, or they're definitely very fair. But you circle the 5 to 7 that really resonate with you. So let's go ahead and I'll give you a few minutes to do that because it's quite a bit of reading, but go ahead. Yeah, you don't even do per category, just do the ones wherever they fall on the chart. Right, is everyone done with their actually circling their character traits? Okay, now I want you to actually talk at your table and you guys share with each other why you chose what you did and, and let everyone have a chance to share that. And if you've already shared at your table, turn around and go to another table and share there.
Alright, hope the German class drives that they are sitting in that situation how probably don't do it. And it's not true.
I'd love to hear someone to volunteer or to share for the whole bridge. We could hear a few people.
So explain that.
Anybody want to share? It's the whole group and kind of share your character's traits. Character types.
And a part. So here are the delays.
Surely there's someone. Yes, thank you.
Another picture.
Praise. Awesome. That's the first character look like the big traits. Yeah. I believe so. Thank you. All right, who else wants to share some of their strengths? Yes. Awesome. Very cool. All those zesty people.
Start to probably carve activate all of it.
That's awesome. Thank you. And yes.
Well, I put people easily to be.
Oh, very cool. That's great. All these are so important, all these traits. Anybody else? Yes. Awesome. That's so great. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes. Yeah.
Great.
Honest. Honesty, yeah.
And they'll have like beats and it's a whole
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Yes.
sure. Here's
Go.
there has to be someone that
Yes. 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 Thank you for... That's great. Thank you so much for sharing. Yes.
I also put fairness. Because people will be like, the world isn't fair or life isn't fair, then I'm like, Cajun.
Okay.
But you're not even going to make it sense. Make it different. I don't even try to make it fair.
It's great. I think that sounds like leadership too. Who else? Yes.
I thought they used to say to be
That's great. Thank you.
it's
Who else? All right. Well, thank you guys so much for doing that. That should really help you to start understanding yourself, part of self-awareness. And like I said, you can go online and you can do it. There's the adult version and then there's a youth version. So I would highly recommend that. I think the youth version is from like 8 to 17 and the adult version is 18 plus. But, just to find out how, where you stand with all the 24 character traits. Well, all right, so we're not going to talk about all 24 because that's a lot, right? But we're going to talk about the specific one. Because there are 2 character traits on this list that have a lot of research attached to them and are very associated with well-being. So I want to talk about these 2 character traits in general because they're both character traits that you can develop in yourself, even if it's not a natural strength. So the first one is gratitude. Has anyone heard like all people talking about gratitude and all the research around gratitude? Have you guys heard of that? Because there's a ton of research around gratitude. And we can choose to be grateful, but a lot of times it just takes changing your mindset a little. So gratitude is one of the ones I really want to encourage you. And we're going to do a little gratitude exercise, but There's another exercise that I would challenge you to do at home sometime, and that's to think of someone in your life who has really impacted you and write them a letter of thanks. And if possible, read it to them or send it to them. But there's all kinds of research on how much that affects not only the other person, but affects your happiness as well. So I would challenge you to do that. But right now, we're just going to do a good old-fashioned gratitude list. And I'm going to give you like 4 minutes. And in those 4 minutes, I want you to write down everything you can think of to be grateful for. From the big things, whether that's family or faith or those kind of things, to the little things. Maybe you had a really great Starbucks today, or you're grateful that the sun was shining and the wind wasn't too bad today. But whatever it is, from the big thing to the little thing, I want you to write down in 4 minutes as many things as possible. All right, go. Okay. I would love to hear some of your things you're grateful for. Yes.
That's great boss.
Dad?
That's the word and was got for kind of from this episode. I call a pen.
Yeah. Awesome. That's great. Thank you so much. Yeah.
To do function. This you do wild and at dog home.
Thank you. Those are great. Yes.
A grateful for straight.
Awesome. Yes. Who else? Yes.
The guard and he tricked Kathleen. Truck straight prepared to be papers by he's glad.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good God. That means the base my husband specifically. And child is this Kathleen. That pay must have favor to it. But all of you need to have that tweet. And friends, especially the world with black. Then yes. And his name. And the guy could put die for go what?
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
I can dance. It's
Thank you, Dad.
smart, body quiet.
Thank you. Yes.
Hot shower, clean sunshine, 80 city quick. But clip laundry, light up a day full.
Thank you. Who else? Yes.
Have brands, set with each other, family. Give them a creativity, art, music, pop, my effort, my love, intelligence, my humor, my athleticism, my strength, and how it be.
Thank you. Those are just great. Who else? Anyone else?
I thought, look at the big look.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I hope that was a great exercise for you just to realize how much there is to be grateful for. And I would just, like I said, encourage you to do a gratitude letter at some point. I think it would really be a beneficial exercise for everyone. And so the kids and the adults in here. All right. And so now we're coming to the last thing we're going to talk about tonight. So I told you there were two big strengths that they found that are really associated with well-being and happiness. First one is gratitude. The second one is forgiveness. That's a harder one, right? Gratitude's really easy to talk about what we're grateful for. Sometimes it's really hard to think about how we can forgive people who have hurt us, right? And I'm not here tonight to tell you how to do that or that you have to do that, but I'm just telling you right now from research, it's really important for your health, mental health and physical health, to learn how to forgive. So I'm going to read you a little poem It's by Frederick Fichtner, if anyone's ever heard of him. But it says, of the 7 deadly sins, anger is possibly the most fun. To lick your wounds, to smack your lips over grievances long past, to roll over your tongue the prospect of bitter confrontation still to come. To savor to the last toothsome morsel, both the pain you are given and the pain you are giving back. In many ways, it is a feast fit for a king. The chief drawback is what you are wolfing down is yourself. The skeleton at the feast is you. What do you think about it? Anyone have any thoughts on that poem? Yes.
Pretty vital. I mean, you were like, if you the last bit of it, and it's like, oh, dude, act. And you.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
If you look up, right? If you lied.
That's exactly right. It eats you up from the inside. It's like that quote, if you've ever heard, unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die, right? So forgiveness is about you first and foremost. It's not about the other person, because forgiveness and reconciliation are 2 completely different things. But I would say, especially if you have the hard things in your past, to really look into some ways that you can actually start on the road towards forgiveness. And I know it's not easy, and we're not, like I said tonight, I'm just going to broach the topic with you just so you can be thinking about it. In almost every major faith tradition, both gratitude and forgiveness are core, which makes me really wonder, here we have science that's just now backing up what we've known forever in our faith traditions, right? So that's just kind of, like I said, forgiveness can be learned. I don't want you to think that it's either something you have or don't. It's actually something you can learn to do. You can let go. There are a lot of good books. This is a very good book. It's Forgive for Good, Fred Lusker. But there's a lot out there, and I would really encourage you, if that's something that you feel like you need to move forward in, that you would find the resources to do. So hopefully you guys got a little taste of both character and leadership tonight. And I would encourage you, parents here, think about ways to incorporate character into your daily life, right? Think about creative ways you can bring it up at the dinner table, creative ways you can spend a weekend building one of the character traits, and, to really look at this and to think, where is our family low, right? What are we missing? And then specifically go towards, if you go to that website, viacharacter.org, they actually have ideas for increasing the specific traits. So it's a great resource you can use for your family too. So are there any questions, any comments, anything you guys want to say?
Hello. Liz.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I practice gratitude, right? Thank you. All right. Thank you guys so much.
I have my